Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. It's Jordan here. Came into work this morning and I started brewing my morning coffee, of course. I think I'm going to go with an Intenso today. And then I was looking out at the new Lego City tables. It's like, oh, that's cool. It's going to be awesome once the Lego City is there. But then I realized, well, I've actually got the wood here to create all the Lego City tables and to like top them all. So, what else can I do with that wood? Well, I can fix another problem. When you're standing here in like the lunch area, snack corner, I guess, coffee corner, well, you see this big hole and you look down into the furnace room. And when we constructed this massive wall here that stands 12 feet tall to sort of frame this area, so we have like the pony wall here, we actually put some 2x3s on the top of this. So we actually framed it. And I've been meaning to top that for so long because I wanted a place to put, I don't know, like a cool diorama or some cool Lego sets, whatever it may be, on top there. So they have sort of like the cloud background and you can admire them while you're eating your lunch or making your lunch. So I think we're going to top that today and we're going to put all of the Lego space sets that I have on top of there. I just sort of think it makes sense. You know, we've got the massive Lego space sets up in the sky above the Lego City. So that's what we're gonna take care of today in this video. You bet I'm gonna be double running that coffee today. I almost need like a little NASA sticker, replace the Yeti with NASA for today. I don't even know if all these space sets are gonna fit up there. We've got the Space Shuttle Discovery, also the Hubble telescope, two 3-in-1 sets. That astronaut's pretty cool. This is the Space Shuttle Adventure. That's an older one. Then we have the Apollo 11 lunar lander, the Epic Saturn V, which I could put in a like upright position. That might be pretty neat. And then the International Space Station. And the newest one, which I brought from home this morning, is the Artemis Space Launch System. And then, hey, look, it's Millie and some Star Wars sets. Boy, it's sort of a mess up here. I've got to clean it up. Well, I guess I'm going to start by putting all these space sets over there. That'll somewhat clean up this space, and then I'll have this countertop nice and cleared and be able to do something else. I've had these up here for quite some time just because I didn't have the wood necessary. You think that like I would have the wood because I've got a garage full of lumber and we just deconstructed the tables from home, but it turns out I have to use like a brand new sheet in order to top this up here. Good thing when I ordered the lumber for the tables, I decided to order a couple extra sheets. You just never know when they're going to come in handy, whether it be topping the parts up there or topping the furnace room or whatever else it may be, right? So yeah, I've got some full sheets here. I guess I better move all this stuff, take the measurements, and then cut one of these down to the correct size. In addition to doing that, I'm also going to try and clean up my mess here. I had like these 2x4s leaned up against the melamine. Melamine all needs to be like cut down to the proper sizes, so I need access to that. So do the 2x4, so I need proper access to that. I want to try and get this stuff away from the back door, like maybe leaned up against the walls, clean up all these shims because they're just sort of laying here on top of the wood that I need to access. Maybe do a little bit of vacuuming here because I think there's going to be nicer weather within the next couple weeks here, so I can cut some wood outside. So maybe I can clean up this wood cutting station. Although like there's not too much sawdust in here, one thorough vacuum should take care of the mess. I'd much prefer to do the cuts outside on a nice day. But I refuse to cut outside when it's raining just because the sawdust would become just super gross out there, and I just don't want to get my saws soaking wet, and I don't want to work in the rain, so I'd rather just do like some light vacuuming. But the weather's decent out today, so we should be able to cut these sheets outside. But first, I need to try and organize some of this wood. Got lumber everywhere, holy cow. But it's pretty crazy to think that like all of this wood here is eventually going to turn into more tables. Well, I guess I don't really need to do much more cleaning than this. I consolidated some of the cutoffs. I had some of the table legs over here, like for the raised platform, and also the 4x4 posts that I use for legs. put those right here besides some 2x6s that I brought from home today. I was thinking to myself the other day that, oh, I need to buy more legs because there's not enough 4x4 posts for all the rest of the tables. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, actually I've got the 2x6s in my garage. I had that thought a couple weeks ago that I could just use these 2x6s as legs. And then somebody commented and reminded me, I was like, right, I've got all the 2x6s. Of course I could just use those as legs. So just cut them down to the same length as the legs or the posts, and then I've got more legs. Also, I've got like an abundance of those, also an abundance of wood. So if I need to add more legs, like some people have been saying, I need to add some more legs in these long sections because they could start to bow in the center. If I do need to add legs, I can just use the 2x6s. I don't need to go buy more 4x4 posts. And what I could do is just literally put the piece of wood going down as a leg and just screw it in. 2 simple screws, and there you go. You've got some additional legs for these long spans. So yeah, we've got the technology, everybody. I also decided to make a box of all the cutoffs. So these are the legs this is the wood that I'll be using to create the legs for the elevated platforms. And there's some of my old legs in here as well. So I'll use all that. And I snapped all the cutoffs or the shims down to a smaller size and just filed them away in that box. A little bit neater and tidier. Don't have to worry about them laying on top of the melamine that I want to cut down. There's not really a sense in shifting all this melamine around. Like, why move this melamine from over there to over here, or this stuff from over there to over there? It doesn't really make any sense because as soon as I get these frames built, they're all going to be moved and put on top of the tables anyway. And we're working our way toward the garage door. So the closer we get to the garage door, the smaller these piles will become. And we're about to reproduce the pile again. And I'm going to make some markings on this large sheet here and get it cut down to size. It's not a perfect square up there, so the cut lines are sort of weird. Here we have 44 inches, and then it's 67 3/4 on one side, and then going to 66 3/4 on the other side. But that should make the perfect covering for up there. So now I've got my handy dandy helper here. This is Bricksie, and also the track saw, and we're gonna make a couple cuts. Well, I just finished wrestling with the vacuum, cords, track saw, big piece of wood. And it's the moment of truth. Is it the right size? The setup and takedown is sort of annoying. Should probably do more than one cut at a time, but I'm excited about setting up a new space display. So let's see if I made the right measurements. I hope I did. So that's what it looks like topped. Was it perfect? Not quite. I had to shave a 1/16 of an inch off to get it in there. So the measurement was slightly off. And because this isn't a perfect square, like this isn't square, I think it's going to be impossible to get it perfect, at least with my skills. So you can see right over here, there's a little bit of a gap. It sort of bothers me. No. In order to eliminate that gap, I'd have to shift this whole piece of wood like that. And in order to do that, I'd have to trim this off and like increase this angle. And I just feel like if I whip out the saw again and try and cut it again, I'm gonna mess it up even more. So I feel like this is probably best case scenario for the wood on top. What we could do to clean this up is we could run like a bead of silicone all the way along, and we could also do that right there. Or even better, could just put some base plates down, turn this into white, green, blue, or gray base plates, then put the space sets on that. There you go, that's an idea. Just buy a certain amount of base plates, base plate top this whole thing, and then it's all studs. Put the sets on that, hides that, that gap. But honestly, I think once we put some sets on here too, it's gonna hide that gap. Not too bad at all. So why don't we do that? Let's get some sets up here, woohoo! Feels good to have this countertop cleared. And then we've got all the sets up here. So the Saturn V, I think it looks better when it's standing upright. So we needed to figure out a way to have it standing upright because on its own, it's not secure at all. If I were to slam this door down there in the furnace room, it would probably tip over and we'd have a huge mess on our hands. So I was talking to Simon, I was like, how can we rig this up? And he came up with a pretty cool solution. He actually ran some Technic axle pieces, and they actually go through the grill elements here, like those grill plates, and then connect to another Technic piece in there, and it's reinforced in 4 different positions. And it's on this really cool dark gray mill plate with the Technic border. So it just sort of adds to the aesthetic of it. It's not much of a launch pad, but it gives it stability and allows us to display it in the upright position. That looks sweet. I'm hyped on that idea. That's beauty. There we go. I think that looks pretty sweet. Not bad. Go over here, make a coffee, check out some space sets at the same time. Is it always going to stay like this? I don't know. This could be a diorama one day. Would be pretty cool. You could like slide modules out there. And you don't really notice that gap back there now that we have the Lego sets. Love the fact that we have the Saturn V in the middle, the Artemis space launch, the Space Shuttle Discovery, Space Shuttle Adventure, ISS, Hubble telescope. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Did you see this guy too? He's just having a little bit of fun there. So there is a couple other things that I eventually want to do in the actual like mezzanine studio space, and it involves the displays on top of the parts. So I've mentioned this in previous videos. I want to get some new shelves for the top of the parts. You can see these ones here, they're like pieced together. There's one that has like a miscut in it, big gap there, big gap here. It's also the 3/4 inch thick stuff. It's like peeling off. It's just been used and abused from like Lego room to Lego room. They sell the shelving in 8-foot lengths, 16 inches deep for I think like $18 a sheet. So it's worth just buying a couple new pieces and redoing all of that in 5/8 thickness. I could just reuse my scraps from down there, but then I'd have to go through and iron on the face, and there might be like some chip out on it. Probably wouldn't look that good, so I'm better off just buying a few pieces and redoing that. And once that's taken care of, if I run out of display space in the shelving rooms, then what I could do is put sets all the way along here. So we'd have these awesome cars. Then we'd have some epic sets on top of the parts like there used to be. And then the space display over there as well. All of these sealed sets, I hope to one day build them once we get back to actual Lego building. That's gonna be fun if I remember how to do that. Start building Lego again, that'll be awesome. And then all of the empty boxes will probably just go on the like HVAC, the cold air return, because I think they'll just add some nice color down there and not take up valuable display space right here. And then we can put some awesome sets up here. So when you're building Lego, you can look at epic Lego sets. So I think that's an idea that I want to run with, not today, but eventually we'll add another display space to the Lego studio here as well. So there we go, everybody, another display built. I've been meaning to top this for so long. We finally had the wood to do it, so I took care of it here today. And I think space looks pretty cool up there. I had that idea quite some time ago. I brought those sets up there and I was like, yeah, we're gonna do that one day. And today was that day. Thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Farewell.